Let's go. Elegance, magnificent, stupendous, wonderful, super fluidity. This cup running over. Stand still, snap, pose, Kodak, Sony got you. Look at them wishing they were you. Standing ovation, panoramic view. This runway, sparks of flame, no name brands. We came, we here, standing chill, bringing value to whatever we wear. Whether it's clothes, paper, plastic, be the shit. Modern boys represent. This is first and 10. Strictly for the house. Yes, keep taking over. Let them run that mouth. When we're done, the show is over. This is an introduction. Yes, it is up for discussion. Reconstruction, demolition. They see, and now they wanna touch. Modern boy, let's rock this. Give them the pole, bitch. Stand up straight. Let's take this model shit to the next level. Model boy, serving pleasure, make them feel it. It's whatever, don't need no name brands. Bitch, we are the name. Tat it up, hair matted up, doodle locks, hair platted up. I'm addicted to realness, so fabulous. Some can't handle it. Rockin' all 4 seasons, there is no reason for a reason. It all comes naturally, given 200% effortlessly. Confidence, this comes so damn easy. Shift into drive, ego amped up, no reason to hide. So vamped up on the ramp up, evil Knievel, let's jump. We so goddamn flammable, they swinging from our flame. Pageant Eve, butterfly collars, bell bottoms, no contradiction. One way got them stuck, boldness flawless. What the fuck? We reckless, running this, they clueless. We used to this, blazes of fire. Here it is, original passion, feel it, action. Model boy, let's rock this. Give them the whole bitch. Stand up straight. Let's take this model shit to the next level. Model boy, service pleasure, make them feel it. It's whatever, don't need no name brands. Bitch, we are the name. Walk, 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 walk. High definition. What's up, y'all?
How's it going?
Welcome to another episode of Freedom Stars.
Freedom Stars.
This is Steve Osborne here.
Kevin Upson.
Today is Saturday, November 15th, 2025. We welcome you guys.
To the original.
The originals. Today's topic is deadbeat dads. We're gonna discuss like personal experiences. We're going to give y'all definitions about deadbeat dads, our critiques, our opinions, all of that good stuff like we usually do. You want to start it out?
Let's see.
What's your definition of a deadbeat dad?
A deadbeat dad is a male that's taken up, has children and not taking care of their children. Not living up to the standards of a father. Some of them don't stand to the definition of a father or a husband. But the worst is to bringing children into the equation and not providing and nourishing and educating and protecting and the whole 9 yards of everything it takes to be a father or a dad. And guys think that just because you can produce a child, that makes you a man. It makes you a man that produce that child and help raise it and guide that child through his life.
I agree. Now, y'all know we usually advocate for men because the way society is shaped now, a lot of stuff is female-based to where a lot of men have gotten pushed to the bottom And a lot of female, you know, situations, issues, topics, and subjects have, you know, risen up. The thing about it is that to the dads, the fathers that are out there doing their thing, I give you the utmost props, the utmost respect. But to the men that are out there just carelessly, irresponsibly out here just having random sex and getting women pregnant, even though the female still has to say so as to whether she gets pregnant or not, you know, because she, you know, she ain't got to accept nothing into her body. But the men, and raw, like Kel just said, but the men that are out there having raw sex with these females, knowing that produce children, and you just on a ramp, you know, just rampantly out there, just doing it, just randomly, you know, having sex with random women and just bringing kids into this world and moving on, is not right. It's not fair for the children that are being created in the process, and that female. I don't blame the man only, but I blame the female as well, because like I said, she can accept or not accept what she wants in her body. But you got some situations where females, you know, they fall in love with these men and they just, you know, they follow them to hell if that's where they're going at, which, you know, they need to be stronger than that. But if you got a female like that, you know, that she's falling in love for you and she'll do anything you say, etc., and then you leave her somewhere bad, that's not a good thing. And like I say, I don't put all of that fault or that blame on the man. I blame the woman too. But, you know, on this specific show and this specific topic, we talking about the deadbeat fathers. I want to say this one thing too. It's situations that, you know, we've heard of where a female may find herself pregnant and she may want to abort the baby, where the man might not want to have the baby aborted. So it still falls on her decision. Then the man might want her to abort the baby and she might not want to abort it. So it's like, it's a, you know what I'm saying, a topsy-turvy kind of situation. But what I want to say on a personal experience, I have to say that a deadbeat dad is what word I want to use? A deadbeat dad plays a part in this world being messed up, you know what I'm saying? Because when you got boys that don't have a nice, responsible, upright father to shape themselves after, or a nice, upright father, responsible, you know, providing guidelines for how that boy should be, you know, as he eventually, you know, go from being a boy to a man, it messes that boy up, because he has to figure out how he's going to be, who he's going to be. And usually coming up, you know, and I speak from personal experience, when you don't have that father in your life, you're going to grab whatever you can grab that seems like something that you might, you know, find interesting. Like it might be sports players, rappers, R&B singers, just people from off the media, entertainer, actors, because you don't have that man physically in your life, you know. And I just think it's a bad thing when a man carelessly brings a child into the world and then just, you know, keep moving on and on, like my father did, you know. And it's just, yeah, it's sad. I don't want to talk too much. I'll give you some time to talk.
No, I just go ahead, because I did have my father and my grandfather in my life, and then I had two big brothers, so I did have role models.
Mm-hmm. And I said for me, for my role models, I had my Uncle Larry. I didn't have a lot of male role models in my life. I had my Uncle Larry, and then I had my other Uncle Noah, but and my other uncle who you met here, he was gone forever. Like, you know, he left Miami a long time ago, been gone for like, you know, almost my whole life. But yeah, with my father, I'm the oldest child on my father and my mother's side, so it's like when him and my mom got up, you know, I feel like, you know, after I was born, with all of the different things that he did, it's like he moved on with life. And it's like one of his favorite songs is Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And it's not really a good song. It might sound good, but
yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't a type of song to like. It was really, they made it.
They made it into a jam. Like,
they made it into a jam, but they made it saying, I guess it was the description of a deadbeat father.
Yeah.
Because some Papa was the only thing he did was leave them alone when he died.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
So, yeah.
And
wherever he laid his hat was his home. So
yeah. And that's how
obviously
my father
his home wasn't where they were.
Yeah.
Because he didn't leave his hat there.
Mm. And I want to say deadbeat fathers are a disservice to this world. You know, I want to say it like that. With my personal experience,
they're the main ones that should be wearing condoms.
Yeah, because it's a big world out there, and when you're responsible and when you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like with my father, you know.
Does that mean that condoms are not just to protect you from STDs?
Yeah, from pregnancy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I was saying, with my father, he's been married 5 times. So he got 5 failed marriages, and then he got a plethora of women that he has impregnated throughout his lifetime. So many siblings I have that he doesn't know how many kids he got. And I mean, it's so many, and those people I may never meet. Somebody that place we took him, the veteran housing for alcoholics and drug addicts. Mm-hmm. She told me to do an ancestry, but I don't feel like going through all of that. It's too much. But she said do an ancestry, and I think some of those kids don't even know if it's random sex. Mm-hmm. They might not even know a last name. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. But yeah, now with that being said, I just feel like.
And then on top of that, if they hadn't done any crimes or anything, you're not gonna meet them because their DNA is not matched anywhere.
Yeah,
you don't have crazy. You don't have to take a blood test to go to school. You know, I don't know. That might be something in the future that they might do.
Yeah.
Because almost every human on the planet would have to have a DNA in a database for them to match people. Mm-hmm. So might be talking something in existence.
Yeah, we'll see what the future brings. Yeah. But yeah, I'm in my 50s now, so it's like
that's how they find criminals. That you have so many old cold cases that's sitting in jails. I mean, in boxes right now in court cases that's been unsolved that have DNA, but those offenders, they had to wait till some of them get caught before they even find out who they are. Because
it's crazy.
Yeah, the data that blood is not blood type is not in the database, or their blood type is not, or their DNA is not in the database. And that's how they get fined years later that somebody else committed the crime. Once they find out the blood type or the person that they arrested, they get that DNA and that's find out that it doesn't match the DNA that they have.
And it's crazy. And out of all of these podcast shows that we have made, this one right here, I hope that my father gets to see this one. He's been gone now from Georgia for 2 months. There's a whole story behind that. It's 6 months that he lived with us. He, even with him being a deadbeat dad, you know, as time went on and we hit the fast forward button to today, after my entire life of him not ever doing anything for me, it got to the point where he actually needed me. So that's when he showed up unannounced to Georgia after he burnt every bridge he had in Florida. Got locked up for several months and then had nowhere to go. Even went to relatives that they didn't let him live in their house. They made him sleep out in a broke down truck in their yard. You know, I was feeling.
After he had a stroke.
Yeah, and then he had
that was really serious.
Yeah, he had a stroke, and when I say he had a stroke, I'm not saying this for people to be like, if you do drugs and drink alcohol your entire life, abusing your body is something you're gonna suffer from some repercussions. So for me to hear somebody had a stroke is not something for me to rejoice about. But for me to hear that person brought that stroke on themselves, that's a different story as far as like feeling sympathy. We feel sad when people go through, you know, health conditions, but if it's something that you knowingly, you know you're not supposed to abuse drugs, you know you're not supposed to abuse alcohol, you're not supposed to abuse your body having all of these random sex partners, but yet and still you did it and now you're at an older age with a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, situations. I can't say that. I ain't gonna say I feel sorry for him because he's still functional. You know what I'm saying? He came here with us and he plotted and he schemed, which is what he did his entire life. So it's like.
He made a lot of promises to you that he still didn't live up to.
Yeah, and Kev witnessed all of this. The same way Kev was getting to know him was the same way I was getting to know him. So we basically let a stranger move into our residence we know it's my father. We know his first name, his last name, and stuff like that. But he was still a stranger. He popped up here unannounced once he burned all of his bridges. And his sister, my father's name is Al, and his sister Rita, who he was living with in Florida, they went through what they went through, and he eventually couldn't return there and said he didn't want to return there. So he burnt all his options.
He had just got over a drug binge.
Oh, okay, yes. And I'm giving y'all this personal experience because I done seen a lot of people put a lot of good stuff on YouTube about their father, and props to y'all. But it's a lot of people out there in the world that have not met their father, and I think sometimes some things are better left unsaid, but we don't know that until we open that package.
Some people don't meet their fathers till they hit a lot of money, or they get big in show business or something like that. That's when they finally meet their parents, because then they want to come into their life.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I ain't saying we hit a big show biz wise and all that, but he wanted to come here because he knew that, you know, from us talking to him, he knew that we was doing well. Yeah, so as I say, some things are better left unsaid, but I know as a human, even with what I felt, if you never had that like bond with your father, that relationship, you know, where you like this, something inside you, like I'll say that inner boy, you want that feel, you want that, you know, how does he look, how does he act, am I like him, you know, the siblings that we have, but it's like all of those question marks I had, I feel like I should have left them unanswered, because when he came into our lives, he brought a bunch of bad answers with him, and it's just, it was crazy. I get a phone call from my half brother, Ace, saying that, oh, Pop's on the way. He coming, his Greyhound bus gonna be there at such and such time at 11 p.m. So we like, wait.
And pause that. Because if you fast forward, that's where he ended up. And it seemed to me like there was a plot in the beginning, because you had because with them trying to stop you from taking your name off of all the information that you had your name on, so he wouldn't come here. All the stuff that his mother said to you, why he would never go there and why she didn't want him there.
I think it was a plot.
Yeah, that's what, because he ended up here. And he ended up here after that phone call you're mentioning that y'all had after you found out about the drugs and you found out all that stuff. You said no, you didn't want anything to do with it. This is before you didn't even care. You didn't even care about his money status. You was thinking about your dad. And you was thinking about the situation he was in, and then you were saying then, before you even got involved into that, you wanted to cancel it all out. So wherever he could have stayed where he was, or he could have went to your brother that you were talking about. Now pick up back.
Now what Kev is talking about, in the past, we had a previous conversation / discussion where my dad and his sister Rita were not getting along, you know, and I got to meet her for the first time. Me and her would have our own, you know, side conversations. Yeah, on the phone. I didn't never meet her in person. But me and her would have our conversations on the side where, you know, sometimes she would call me if my father wasn't around or if he was in the room asleep or whatever. And she filled me in on a lot of blanks of the type of person that he was. And it got crazy to where he would talk to me and he would say bad things about her. And then she would talk to me and she'd tell me things about him, which me and him have been on the phone communicating since, 2021.
But fast forward, and from her talking to you, she was right. He was wrong.
She was right. Yeah.
Everything she said to you about him, we found out was true.
And I'm sure it's a lot of people out there with deadbeat dad stories, but we just giving you, you know, I'm just sharing my experience with y'all.
Not being around her, so we don't know what he said about her, but we know what she said about him was true because he showed it to us. So,
as I was saying, in the past, when he was trying to get out of her house and, you know, all the shit hit the fan there, he had been talking about coming to Georgia, and, you know, he was saying that he needed 100% disability because the VA, you know, they didn't have him on 100%. He needed help. He needed this. He needed that. So, this was way in the past. I say, well, because I know he's a drug addict and I know he's an alcoholic. So I'm like, if you come to Georgia, if you ever come to Georgia, no drugs, no alcohol. So this in the past, we have made that agreement, and he was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm leaving that stuff behind, you know.
And while he was with his sister, he did that with all the different. He messed up with all the banks, his bank cards by giving.
That's a whole
Giving floozies online his bank card and information, and then they'll steal his phone and they'll get all his information off his phone.
Yeah,
he had problems with phone, of having new phones every other month, having to change banks because that person got to access to his.
He has a what they call a pattern. He has a pattern with how he do everything. So getting back, I'm gonna come to that part. But getting back to the part about his sister, so when I was like, you know, we'll do what we can do to help. So we called the VA, found out everything we needed to do. So this one specific night, his sister calls me, oh, your daddy is out there, you know, in the woods with your cousin. They out there high and getting drunk, high and drunk basically. She said, call him right now. She said, you'll hear it. She said, either he's not gonna answer his phone. If he do answer his phone, he gonna say, let him call, you know, let me call you back. She was right. I called, he answered the phone. Next thing you know, I hear, yeah, let me call you back. I can hear alcohol and I can hear drugs. I could just hear it and I can feel it, just the spiritual energy, just, yeah, he's gone. So that's when I was like, no, I'm cutting ties with this man because, yeah, he's saying one thing, but then his actions is another thing. So we're going to hit fast forward to what Kev was talking about. So from me talking to my aunt Rita, my father's sister, she told me all these crazy things like he gave her his ID, he gave her his bank cards, and he lets her manage his money because you can't live anywhere for free. So she would take, you know, his portion of the bills, the rent, the light bill, the water bill, the gas bill, you know, the grocery bill, all of that, which he wasn't getting a lot of money. I'm talking he was getting a little bit of money.
At that time.
Yeah, so the little bit of money that he was getting, she was like, oh, your father, he gives me his card to, you know, to manage the money, but then he comes and asks her for money. She said by the time the month has come to an end, he basically got all of his money back from her, and then she done paid all of the bills, you know. And he's the older sibling. This is my father's her big brother. So to me, he supposed to be, you know, setting the way. He supposed to be the trailblazer, but it's like he's some little irresponsible child that just, I don't know, trying to live free places. While, mind you,
he still live like he's 20.
Yeah, mind you, with all of this going on, he's at my aunt's house drinking, getting high, because he'll call me, and then he gets into this rant where he tells you, you know, you need to get your life together and Jesus coming back. While he drunk and high, he's condemning your life or your lifestyle or whatever and talking like he holy, you know, holier than thou. It just, the relationship got really crazy. And I'm talking about this stuff because I want it thoroughly documented because we talked about it in our pilot season, but I didn't go into as much detail as I'm about to go into now. And then Kel shared this experience with me, so we decided to make this show. And we're going to have a show on deadbeat mothers eventually too. So so it can be, you know, we ain't just going in on the men. Yeah, so getting to the part that Kel was talking about, with all of the things that my aunt was telling me, she was like, oh, your father, you know, he blows his nose all day. He got this mucus condition. And she was like, he uses the same paper towel to blow his nose the whole day. And he put it in his pocket. She said his fingernails and his toenails look like talons, like eagle talons. And we seen that when he got here. So with him having all of the ability that he has, it's like he didn't even care of his own personal hygiene, which we seen all of that when he got here. When I tell y'all that he had a stroke, I'm not saying he had a stroke like he's sitting somewhere paralyzed. He's still functional, like, because, you know, some people have strokes and it don't be to where they paralyzed or anything. It wasn't like that.
What he did for the first 3 months here, 3.5 months here, he acted like an invalid. Like he needed help with everything. He wanted us to be real, you know, concerned about him every time. Soon as you got him, I didn't want to jump in front of the story.
It's fine. But we all over the place with it, y'all, because the story is so big that, yeah, we telling it as it come to our mind.
And then on top of that, they knew, because I think they conspired this together.
They did.
He knew, they knew that with how sincere you were and the type of person you are, those people in that VA hospital see you bringing that man in there, your dad, they're going to see that caringness in your eye. They see your face, they see your eyes, they know the concern, they see the type of person you are, and they see him, and they see the condition he's in. Oh, they're going to feel sorry for him. They're going to give him everything he needs because his son is there.
Yeah.
His son looks pure and honest. So
he played that like a fiddle.
They did because they conspired. I think they really all conspired together.
What happened?
If he would have went up there with your brother, even though he's younger, look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his record. Imagine what his condition is.
Yeah.
And then the woman that he's
and the
around,
woman he talking
they would
about,
not have given him.
Yeah, the woman he's talking about is Teresa. That's one of his ex-wives. She put me on game like nobody else. She knows my father from the Rudy to the Tootie. So earlier,
She been with him since she was what, 14?
Yeah, she said she been with him since she was either 13 or 14, and he was 19, 20. Yeah, he was 19 and 20 years old, and she was 13 or 14 years old. So she knows him thoroughly. Earlier this year, he got locked up for 3 months for some charges. He had 19 charges that were pending in Florida. And it took him to go into a department store and get into an altercation with the manager of the store where he assaulted this man. And the police came in. That's when the police did a check on him. And, once they found that out, he down in jail in the slammer. I found out from his sister that he got locked up. So I shared it with people to let them know. I shared it with his ex-wife, Teresa, who they might be remarried now, I don't know. But while he was locked up, I played a crucial part in making phone calls. I played a crucial part because they got this thing called care packages that are $50 to $60 a pop. And this basically consists of potato chips, juice, Twinkies, little snacks and stuff.
Those oodles and noodles.
Yeah, so I played a consistent part in that. And we were calling every day to Leon County, to find out what was what. So 3 months he's been locked up. She's schooling me on this man from the Rudy to the Tootie. She talked to me about him like never before. And the majority of the things that she told me about him were bad. So I'm like, damn, you done been with this man this long and he a bad person. But for her to have been with him that long, that means she's a bad person too. Because birds of a feather flock together. She had 3 kids by him. And she just told us horrible things about this man. Like things that your mind would not even... You couldn't even fathom. And by the time he got out, that 3rd month, his money that he was getting, his disability money, had multiplied 3 times. This man gets out. He calls his brother that lives in another part of Florida to come pick him up from his sister's house. That's when she called me. Oh, your uncle came and picked your dad up there. I didn't even know he was coming. Like, he just popped up and your dad got his clothes and just left. You don't do that when you living with somebody. You let them know, oh yeah, by the way, such and such, I'm going to be gone for a week or 2.
Even though he was in jail for 3 months and she hadn't seen him in 3 months.
Yeah.
All his stuff is still there. So technically he still lived there. Yeah,
so where she was at was in Daytona Beach, and he needed to go to Tallahassee because at his old age, he want to go get his driver's license bill paid up and so he can drive again, which he doesn't need to do because when he was driving...
Definitely an accident help.
When he was driving, if you're an alcoholic and a drug addict and he would call me and he'll be on the host road. It could be 2 a.m. I'm asleep and he telling me about women that's passing by his vehicle. That's what he would do. Like, so make a long story short, his brother picks him up and he got 3 times his income because while he was locked up, his money was accumulating. His brother told me a whole story of that situation. So I'm going to get to the part of where my phone rings early 1 a.m. and it's my cousin telling me that, he found my dad slumped over in front of the dope house. And I'm gonna hit pause before that. My dad actually called me when he got out. He was happy and he was just, he was excited.
He's clean.
Yeah, he was bragging about being clean, but at the same time, he said that he's a functional addict. And he said he not like Teresa. He said he can do his drugs and he can still function. And shortly after that phone call, that's when my cousin called me saying, oh, your dad is slumped over on the ground in front of the dope house.
Wow.
I'm like, is he alive? Is he dead? He don't know. I said, check his nose, check his pulse. And my cousin happened to have this girl that he was dating. She was a nurse or a nursing assistant, but she knew about a lot of medical procedures. So he called my other brother, Ace, the one that told me that my father was on the way, you know, unannounced. And we all on three-way. And I'm telling him, take him to the hospital. He don't want to go to the hospital because, okay, so if the VA find out anything about drug use and stuff like that, they'll kick you out. So the hospital they usually take him to would be regular hospitals, which I don't see how they still come find out.
Check to find out what is wrong with him.
Yeah.
And find out all the drugs. To take him, draw that blood, and they see everything that he's been on.
Yep. So from that point, after my cousin, I'm telling him take him to the hospital.